mati kotuga ehen namaves me masala hallu wegenne ekan kuriya daanjeheni den alunmen ekama guligen me wahaka me algonu phone wahaka dakkale afin broadcasting corporation ge chairman Ibrahim Warmanika den na afin alunmen kommira kosti be fulun hoshalu bafia form takkaji hoshalu bafia alunmen license de gote she me oti public service broadcast ge license denji alun kommira ges edis dane hemima formalities for him kollwagen broadcast korawashe dengana kaulumen ali wahida dennevin me kanune gotu mitan hinganji hani team modi singanji hani MBC ka faratunne MBC mikama hawaluwan ebajehe e process saunun ebajehe waraboda Avaskuran alulmen commission lazim kore mikanta balahattam code me balahattan hemima alulmen war kamodwa kameke mihar military be fulun mita tere tibbawa fa siyasi be fulun kole mitanu tibbewima midane ali wahidus naibrais ero ajen korawa for be fulun tan hingewma de rajagadu hawal ko fori me ibbeya ehma Ibrahim Rashid ehma ede tambe sama MBC hawal korang beje ehma e process awas kollen je den ekantawga higatuga me harmoti court maro halaga moti istinaf maro halaga high court ga den awol medo rais jumhuriya baddal koragota hamaje moti ekanta courtung abura gennawafa awaha ekan me hawal korawashe MBC ya team modi sadiva rajyega adu erunne me alun beenuwa gota hingani kanuna egota raitum beenuwa gota raitun ge public service broadcaster meeting modi sadiva rajyega adu ehma egotu hingumattaka rais jumhuriya sawun iltimas kurumattaka baddalu hamaji foti medu gahawiru wagotegge ekanta alun kuriya dane ehma mi kanta Avaskuruma alun me waraboda concern we dana kamid mar hodage team modis hamara rangala hinga ganuna gawataka egota me code of conduct amuriha gota war boda Balaigen team modi sadiva rajyega adu hingu marun ede befuna iltimas kurin ei mebves kala siyasi nufuze neti viha minimum go ekanta daanji he algona abudus gowala wahake ki benu wahake ki e fursatuges ebenu benu koravan ekanta korawashe den etanuga miyogutu hingawan ede befuna tibbe kan e algona libe war bodu fali wahida kis broadcasting e odanno be fole ibbe kis e odanno be fole vima e be funa kan me war rangala hingawana kamabes vidalu hema algona men commission ekama war bodu hingama je den MBC algona danno fonnani awa license e wadanno den form take se buri foreign je den ekanta tahama vima unwenna e me du kurevene hema e process idari gotun kuriya danakama me algona me malumat libeni
process again ki muddatan haga
no alumen hama alumen na hame form te libege form te fura hawa ma ko first minute tere gaulu kan kolla ne gato alu mihar usule goton hamuri nimi fakuri ingeto alumen libenje he documents libuni malunen counter matin hawal kolle goton oti eke wes bodu masalenno alunen beno vi hawa kami process hawal ko fada alunen ka manika dennevin awa mi process hama fadi rajya gara TV modisa hawal wadanna wate tibe fulun hinganje he ni raitu majlihum pass ko fe board eketi tibe fulun hinga wagen raitum beenuwa gota minimum kamaye ko hama gota public service broadcast එක දවර අදා කරවවාශ ඒ අරුණ බේනුවේ මුල එකමකේ අවස්කුරවවාශ ඒකන්ත මනික දාලේ බෝඩ් මීටින් එකේ මහරස් මින්නවි එමෙකන්ත අවස්කුරම අවණෙන් හමවාන ඉල්තිමස් කොෆා
शाहिब हम आर्मेन लिबिफे वगत कोल वरकोड हातरे जहारमेन हम इंग्लिश हबर में खंडालन से हेति वर बड़ शुक्रिया आएंगे तो तीसा को लेवी मालूमात खोला दरमेन को ते कोले वगत को ade हम आर्मेन ति बेफना हिसाब देन कोरिया अगेंस्ट इन मंग हम जेफ मियोति हातरे जहार इंग्लिश हबर हम कुड कुड वगत कोलेगे तेरे खबर फेनिगेंदा
I'm Adhives and welcome to the VTV's English News Bulletin. The headlines for today: the Vice President has been sworn in as President. Mohammad Nasheed has resigned from the presidency. Former President Gayoom welcomes Nasheed's resignation. The detained Criminal Court Chief Justice Abdullah Mohammed has been freed. The detailed news follows next. Vice President Dr. Mohammad Wahid Hassan Malik has been sworn in as President moments ago after Mohammad Nasheed's resignation. The Vice President was sworn in at a special ceremony held this afternoon following President Mohammad Nasheed's resignation about an hour earlier. Nasheed resigned after sustained protests against his rule, which was joined by the security forces last night until this morning. Dr. Mohammad Wahid Hassan Malik was a popular choice among the opposition to take over from Nasheed, who had received local and international condemnation for dictatorial and unconstitutional acts. Today's ceremony, where the Vice President was sworn into the presidency, was attended by members of Parliament, although only a single MP from the former ruling party was present. Mohammad Nasheed resigned from the presidency today after sustained protests against the former government by members of the public as well as the security forces. Nasheed's resignation was delivered at a press conference held at the president's office this afternoon. Surrounded by several members of his cabinet, Nasheed stated that he had decided to resign as he has come to the realization that his remaining as president would cause further unrest and conflict in the Maldives. He also stated that the only way he could remain in power was through the use of force and arms. Nasheed claimed that he resigned in order to prevent such a situation. The past few weeks saw several members of the public injured and detained at protests against the government. The Nasheed administration authorized the use of force against protesters, which led to the army and police deciding to rebel against the government. Nasheed's resignation came after the country came to a standstill when members of the police service refused to obey his illegal orders. Reportedly, the police were ordered to stand aside and allow anti-government protesters to be attacked by activists of the ruling Maldivian Democratic Party, as well as gangsters affiliated with the former ruling party. The police were later joined in protests against former President Nasheed by the soldiers of the Maldivian army. The announcement that Nasheed would resign was met with cheers from the thousands gathered at Republican Square. The jubilant crowd bowed to Allah in thanks for the unpopular former president's decision to step down following several days of civil unrest and instability. Celebrations are ongoing in the capital city of Male, with opposition supporters and members of the public expressing joy at the resignation of Nasheed, whose popularity had fallen since his election in 2008. Former President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom has congratulated the Maldivian people for upholding the rule of law and welcomed the resignation of former President Nasheed. In a statement given by telephone to VTV, Gayoom thanked Allah for granting the Maldivians success in their efforts to uphold the constitution and rule of law in the Maldives. He described the resignation of Mohammad Nasheed from the presidency as a message that no one is above the law and that all who violate the law will be brought to justice. Gayoom also welcomed President Nasheed's decision to accept the public's calls to resign. Gayoom said he was grateful that Nasheed had realized, as that he had said in his resignation speech, that remaining in power would threaten the peace and stability of the Maldives. Noting that Dr. Mohammad Wahid Hassan Malik would soon be sworn in as president, Gayoom congratulated the former vice president and expressed his hope that the new president would handle his duties with respect for the national religion of Islam as well as the constitution. Criminal Court Chief Justice Abdullah Mohammed has been released from his illegal arrest and detention after the resignation of President Mohammad Nasheed. The Criminal Court Chief Justice returned after being detained for more than 20 days since the 16th of last month at the military training facility in the island of Girifushi. Abdullah Mohammed was escorted back to Mali City on board a police vessel to the cheers of waiting crowds. Justice Abdullah Mohammed was at the center of the former Nasheed administration's descent into unconstitutional acts and dictatorial measures. The judge was arrested on the night of the 16th after he ordered the release of the opposition DQP's deputy chief, who was arrested without a warrant. Before his release from military custody today, Chief Justice Abdullah Mohammed's arrest has drawn criticism from the international community as well as state institutions in the Maldives. The United Nations Human Rights Council had demanded former President Nasheed to release the judge immediately, while the International Commission of Jurists had called the judge's arrest a classic case of a government arresting a judge for exercising his independence. And that's it for the news bulletin for now. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.